Hello and welcome back to the Cymru Nerd Cave. How are you doing? I'm doing okay, thank you very much. We are back with something else from the Cymru Nerd Cave today. Something that I've just literally bought and had come through the door today. So I thought I would show them off. When I was a kid, there was a cartoon on television called Battle of the Planets. And it was a repurposing of an old cartoon from Japan called Gatchaman, Ninja Science Team Gatchaman. And this was not a cartoon for kids. This was an adult anime that was repurposed and bits cut out and then American bits put in, basically to sell to kids who liked Star Wars, because Star Wars was the thing. And I loved it, and then it ended. And then there's been not much follow-up in the UK, but they keep trying to redo it in America because of things like Power Rangers. It's got that Power Rangers-y vibe, you know, the five young kids standing up against evil, super suits, that kind of thing. Anywho, long story short, they've done some Funko Pops for it, and I bought them. And I bought that one, and I bought that one, and I bought that one, because they're the only three at the moment that I'm aware that they have. They're missing two members of the team, which is Tiny and Kiop. You know, Kiop, motherfucker, that one. But they don't have them as far as I'm aware at the moment. And also, I'm guessing there's going to be three, isn't there? So there's going to be Kiop, Tiny, and 7 Sark 7, and one Rover 1, I hope, as well. Now, 7 Sark 7 is the one that they thrust in. Basically, they took 5 to 7 minutes per episode of questionable content, and then put 7 Sark 7 in those minutes with his dog 1 Rover 1. Interestingly enough, 7 Sark 7 voiced by Alan Scott, who was the guy who was the human on Mr. Ed, the talking horse, and also, probably more famously, the voice of Scrooge McDuck. The original voice, should I say. David Tennant is the voice of Scrooge McDuck these days. But yes, Alan Scott, or Alan Young, sorry, should I say. Alan Young, not Alan Scott. Who's Alan Scott? Oh yeah, he's the Green Lantern. There you go. Alan Young, there we are. But he was 7 Sark 7 and a few other voices. Speaking of which, let's have a look at these guys. Let's have a look at them first. So we've got Ken the Eagle there, and we've got these are the Gatchaman names because it's the Gatchaman. I do not know him as Ken the Eagle. I know him as Mark. But that is Mark. And then we've got Joe the Condor, which is Jason. He was the bad boy. He was the guy who was always saying, "Oh, fuck it, let's go nuclear. Let's have the fiery phoenix now, or let's just kill everyone." But more on that in a second. And we've got John the Swan, who was Princess in the thing. I think is it Jinpai the Swallow and something the Owl. I forget who they are. But it's Jinpai. I definitely remember Jinpai the Swallow, who is Kiop, you know, fuck your mother. But there you go, that's him. Tell you what I'm going to do, rather than muck about, I'm just going to get these out of the packaging, and then we'll be back in a second, and we'll talk a bit about Battle of the Planets. Bye for now. And we're back, and they've been unboxed, and they look all glorious and stuff. So, like I say, Battle of the Planets, they were kids who were experimented upon. They were orphans. 5 young orphans, taken in by the world government, I guess. It's never really made explicit. They kind of just get on with it, like 70s cartoons did. They didn't get too bogged down in law. I think somebody somehow has reconciled a lot of it, but not as far as I'm aware. I haven't read it. But there you go. Anyway, we'll start off with Mark, he's the leader of the group, much like Raphael wasn't. Voiced by Casey Kasem, he of America's Top 40 fame. And now on with the countdown. And he is, sort of responsible and heroic. He's every Japanese leader trope. No sense of humour, or very little sense of humour. And, because he's in red, white and blue, so obviously America enjoyed that and wanted him to be the leader more than anything else. I'm not sure. I think he was the leader in Gatchaman. But like I say, I've not seen that, so I don't know. But I really love the visors in these. The fact that they've got these clear visors like in the show. They didn't have to do it, but they've done it anyway. I'm really appreciative of that. So, they would be bowling around in vehicles that they had and in normal clothes and civilian attire, and then Centre Neptune would say, "Oh, Spectre's at it again," and then they'd tap their smartwatches of what you can see here, say the word transmute, and then they would transform into these Sentai supersuit things and go off on adventures on different planets, apparently, even though everyone looked like Earth. Spoiler alert, in Gatchaman, it was all on Earth. There were no aliens, hence why everything looked like Earth. Simple as that, really. Yeah, but that's Mark. He looks fantastic. Love it. Like I say, voiced by Casey Kasem. You've then got Joe Condor, or Joe the Condor, or as we call him in the West, Jason. He was the bad boy of the group, always wanting to blow stuff up and just kill loads of bad guys, and he would always be told by Mark, "No, we can't do that, we're G-Force, we're good guys." So yeah, he would never be allowed to do that. But in the Japanese one, he had like a revenge storyline, did Joe, and he died. He got murdered by Spectre. So yeah, of course you didn't see that in Battle of the Planets at all. There's no way that was ever going to happen. But yeah, he had this feather in Gatchaman. I don't know what it does. I'm guessing it kills people, as does the gun. But they all had ninja stars, which look like birds. I'll show Matt's got one, so there you go. That thing there. There you go. That thing. And they would throw them at Spectre hoods, hoodlums and goons and stuff. And these guys would keel over like they died, because in Gatchaman they died. But it was always hilarious about the planet. Sark's voice would come on and say, "Oh, it's a really good job. It's a really good job that they were just robots." Even though they clearly weren't. It's the same with things like tanks and aeroplanes that the humans deployed against every sort of monster, big monster of the week. They would get blown up, and they would, again, Zark's voice would come over and go, "Oh, it's a good job they were all remote-controlled robot tanks and aeroplanes." Of course they weren't, but it's fine. It was a kid's cartoon in the West. Totally wasn't in Japan though. Speaking of which, Princess June the Swan, or Princess in the West, looks more like a goose, I always thought, but never mind. She is in Japan at least, every 1970s Japanese girl trope going. She has no agency, she cries a lot, all that kind of good stuff. In the West, not so much, because they were going for a more Princess Leia vibe, but you know, it's still a cartoon in the 1970s, late 1970s as it may be, so you can imagine. And in Japan as well, a lot of upskirt action. You kind of saw some of this in the West, but not a lot. She would do like tippletails and tumbles and stuff and acrobatics, because they're all acrobats basically. They're all like Robin, and you would see up her skirt and see pants and stuff, and yeah, questionable, but never mind. It happens, I guess. It's the 70s. Ha ha ha. I don't know. But like I say, in Battle of the Planet, she has a bit more agency. Voiced by Janet Waldo, who a few years before had voiced Penelope Pitstop, and would be a famous voice actor for years and years to come. Really good voice actor. I did find out what Tiny would have been called in Japan. It's Ryo Nakahashi, I think his name is. In G-Force, which is the remake of this in the 90s, he's called Hootie Owl. Oh, dear Lord. And obviously Keop, I think, stayed Keop. You know, Keop, who got, "I fucked your dad as well." That guy. Yeah, him. Seven Sark 7, voiced by Alan Young, who was he's Wilbur from Mr. Ed, the human guy, and also more famously, probably, Scrooge McDuck. The original one, and lots of other things. Alan Young was prolific. But yeah, I'm hoping then, next time we get Keop, Tiny, and the Seven Zark 7 with one Rover 1, because they do that sometimes. They do put little guys in. I've got a couple of Fraggles who've got doozers, so I'm hoping it's that kind of deal. But yeah, these are really cool, and if you've got any love for Battle of the Planets in your heart at all, you do need to buy them, because they look very cool on the shelf, and I do hope they bring the others out, or if they haven't done already, because it's such an integral part of my childhood that sort of went away for a long time and came back in limited runs. But yeah, this is cool. They're cool. Buy them. In the meantime, though, that's all from me this week. I shall be back again very, very soon with something else, I am sure. Video games, toys, that kind of thing. In the meantime, though, please do take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye for now.
Battle of the Planets. G-Force, Princess, Tiny, He-Up, Mark, Jason, and watching over them from Center Neptune, their computerized coordinator, Sevens Arc 7, watching, warning against surprise attacks by alien galaxies beyond space. G-Force, fearless young orphans protecting Earth's entire galaxy. Always 5, acting as one. Dedicated, inseparable, invincible.